It is April 4th, 2018, and you are watching CTV 21, or you're watching Narrow Street Films Facebook live stream, the Late Night Live Show. And I'm your host, Terry Traynor, and this is my co-host, KJ Traynor. And yeah, it's a beautiful day out.
It really is.
Yeah, really beautiful night. And why we call this show the Late Night Live Show, and it's not all that late, but it is live. The reason why is this. It used to be on late, and then we changed the times and to an earlier time, and we just were too lazy to change the name of the show. So
sad but true.
Sad but true. So we're thinking we're going to keep it the somewhat Late Night Live Show. The Late Night Live Show, if you are somewhere else where the time is different and it's actually late because it's still live even though the time is different, that name I feel is just way too long.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. You may wonder why I'm acting and feeling a little lethargic right now. Arnie, are you wondering that?
Yes. I think that's what you want me to say, right?
I think that's what you want to say. As the Ed McMahon or the Edwin McMahon.
I am fascinated. So why are you so lethargic today, Terrence?
I got a headache.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a good reason.
That's it. That's a good reason. So yeah.
I'm sorry
no more than that. Nothing more than that.
I'd offer you medicine, but I don't have any.
Aw.
Yeah.
Thanks, I think. But anyways, but we got some exciting stuff. This week's episode is going to be about karate movies, and not. I got to make sure this is clear. This is about karate in films that are primarily part of the plot point is the fact the character studies karate, because the thing nowadays is everybody has karate in action movies nowadays.
Right.
It's not an uncommon thing at all. And so I posted this question to people about what was their favorite karate movie, and we're gonna be approaching that in the news segment soon enough, and we'll be giving you a shout out to what your favorite karate films are. But we're talking like the Karate Kid. Obviously, it's part of the story.
Yeah.
It's not just.
Yeah, it's an integral part of the whole thing. So yeah.
But okay, so side note, because usually we don't talk too much important information in the beginning part of the show. I just try
obviously,
to make
karate in movies is an important thing.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's very important, extraordinarily important.
It is.
All right. But typically I try to make a joke, or two at the beginning of the show, and then people who aren't the audience there don't laugh, and then the people on the show get off the Facebook Live, and so that's just the way it goes. But I was at my BJ's job, okay.
All right.
And this little old lady who I think was from Greece came over and she was asking about wax paper, all right, and she really needed to find wax paper. I didn't know where wax paper was. We walked around. I had to go to the front of the store. They don't have wax paper. They have parchment paper. I don't know the difference between parchment paper and wax paper. I'm a single dude. I screw up, break, and bake. I don't, All right. So finally found parchment paper, and I gave it to the lady, and she was very, very nice. And then I was like, I was trying to find something to ask her. I asked, what are you going to use the parchment paper for? And you know what she said?
No idea.
She looked at me and she said, my daughter grows medical marijuana. Like, because clearly that's what you need parchment paper for. Because out of all the things you need parchment paper for, clearly that makes...
I thought you were going to say, like, baklava or something like that.
I know. I just looked at her and I said, yeah, well, my mom uses it for cookies. Like, that's my mom uses.
Not euphemism or anything. That's really cookies.
That's really just cookies. Yeah. So that was that was interesting. And I love little moments like that. So, all right. Well, anyways, we have special guests tonight. Bill Humphreys of Portsmouth Community Television Station coming to talk about Portsmouth TV, which is really cool. We're going to be giving a lot of shout outs on Facebook Live to you who mentioned what movies you like, what karate movies you like. We have a complete karate theme today. If you hate karate, you are going to despise this episode. It's just going to despise
Except
you.
for Bill's part, you'll love that part.
Love Bill's part. Suburban Spies episode 3 coming up. The Facebook Live room is open. Join us. Late Night Live TV show. We'll be back in just a minute.
creating a great workplace culture and supporting the Seacoast community. Go LT.
Oh, we're back live.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't hear the 30-second call. This is the fun of being on a live television show, is that you never quite know. You know, I think there's something wrong with my earpiece right now. But anyways, you're watching the Late Night Live TV show here on the Narrow Street Films Facebook Live page and on CTV 21, Chester Public Access Television Station. So our theme for this week is karate films. And earlier this week, I went onto Narrow Street Films. And I posted a little video telling people this was the theme for the show, and do they comment on some of their favorite karate movies. So Jonathan LaPlante commented Ip Man, which is a very good movie. If you ever get a chance to see it, Ip Man is a very good movie. Donnie Yen, love that. Kate Eppers, who is in the Facebook Live room right now. Kate Eppers, she commented on the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank. I've never actually seen that one.
That's the one Karate Kid movie I haven't seen.
Yes, I think it's the one Karate Kid movie we all haven't seen. I've never seen it. I have to check it out. Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know if that's can we call that a karate movie? If those of you who've seen it, there's some martial arts in it, but I don't know if it's a karate movie. It's a very fun movie, but I don't know. Let me see. Anything with Jackie Chan, of course. Well, Paul Lucier, who we had as a guest last week, says, "Does The Jerk count?"
The Jerk. The one
with I went with Steve Martin.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Funny karate scene with Iron Balls McGinty. I don't know. Never seen it. Dottie.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. What did you say?
Well, I was going to say if the Pink Panther movies count, then The Jerk.
Yes.
Counts. And I think the Pink Panther movies definitely
Pink Panther movies definitely got to count. Yeah. I will say that. Yeah. Look at those. Yeah. Dottie Andres says Fearless. That's a pretty good movie. Let me see. Robert McTire. George, who's a good actor friend of ours from out in Connecticut. George, if you're watching, love you, buddy. Power Rangers. See, like, that's where you get into like a bit of a conflict. Power Rangers, even though I've never watched it, they had karate in it. It was the strong element of the show because that was a style of action that was in it. But was it a karate TV show? Because it wasn't really.
That's a good question. Well, what to you defines a karate TV show?
It has to do with the actual style of martial arts. Has to do with the plot point. Like Iron Fist is the style of martial arts. Okay, that has to do with the plot point. Okay. Or like they have to go through a certain amount of training. You could almost call the first Batman movie, Batman Begins, kind of a karate movie because he goes through training, creates his own style of fighting.
Okay.
In a way. So I think that has to do with it. Thaddeus says any and all Bruce Lee movies.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Enter the Dragon, I guess. He said that. Enter the Dragon, I guess. Like, you know, I don't have to guess. That's a Bruce Lee movie. It sounds like you're just like,
yeah.
I guess, you know, Enter the Dragon. Okay. All right. Whatever. Kate Eppers, we mentioned earlier. Let me see, Hilary Swank. John Quirk. Jackie Chan movies are great, but at the moment, it's Into the Badlands. Now, I've never seen Into the Badlands, but I know they have insane fight sequences in it that's sort of like their thing. Now, Ian Kincaid. I'm going to invite you into the Facebook Live room right now, audience, because he needs to, he needs his because he brought up the one, all right? The one.
The one.
The one.
Okay.
All right. Bloodsport.
You know, I've never seen that.
You've never seen Bloodsport?
I've never seen Bloodsport. I'm ashamed to say it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Get out of the studio. Bloodsport is like...
No, wait. Is that the one where he's in New Orleans and they're hunting him down?
No, that's a good one. That's Hard Target.
Oh,
that's Hard Target. Yeah, that's a great movie. We ought to do a whole Jean-Claude Van Damme episode.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, and he has like 4 movies coming out a year, so it's like pretty easy. We could have a whole trailer trash segment with just Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Should like the really old.
Yeah, Jenna Brooks just Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard. Maggie Q. I don't know movies well. I go only if it's Bruce Willis film. So Jenna, have you seen the new Death Wish? Comment. Have you seen the new Death Wish with Bruce Willis? Because it's an awesome movie. Maggie Q was in Live Free or Die Hard, and she does do martial arts, and it's not really a martial arts movie. Maggie Q has been on a lot of action stuff. Little most people know, she was actually trained by Jackie Chan.
Oh, really?
Yes, and her first role was in Rush Hour 2. There's a scene in the very beginning of Rush Hour 2 where they're driving, and Chris Tucker tries to flirt with some girls, and he tries to speak Mandarin, and he gets it completely wrong. One of the girls in the car is Maggie Q.
Wow.
Yeah, Maggie Q. Jenna says you have not seen Death Wish yet. You have to go see Death Wish. It's awesome. Yeah, total side. Not a martial arts movie at all. Okay, Will Sweat says Joe Crapo in Running on Empty. All right. Running on Empty is a film I made some time ago. Not the highest quality film, but a lot of fun and a lot of martial arts in it. But
I played a bad guy in it.
You played a bad guy in it, yes. All right, Matt Trim, in all honesty, Bloodsport. But since that was already said, I'm going to go with Kickboxer, which I've never seen. And I'm kind of ashamed because I am a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, big Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. Almost a lot of this is like, if it's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, yeah, sure. It just works.
But no one's brought up Chuck Norris yet.
Nobody has brought up Chuck Norris. That's a good point.
Where's Chuck Norris in all of this? I mean,
yeah, well, okay. Enter the Dragon. Is it Enter the Dragon? Chuck Norris was in with Bruce Lee. Yeah, I think that was it.
Okay, so sort of a half shot up there.
Now, little side note about martial arts is you know. Oh, Peter White just joined the Facebook Live room. Peter White of the Peter White and the Moose morning show. Yes. Hi, Peter. We got to have you on the. We got to bring you on the show sometime. Let me see. Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Jenna just brought up. Yes.
Obviously, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And Derek Foley just said Steven Seagal. So, yeah, okay, now these are people who do martial arts in the film. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because it's in the name Ninja Turtles, it's a martial arts thing. I would say that works, but I'd say it has to be about, there's a plot element. Part of the plot is the
training.
Is the training? Yeah, part of the plot is what's going on.
So G.I. Joe doesn't count.
No. That's exactly the point, though. That something like G.I. Joe doesn't count. I did bring down a list of certain karate films that to me mean a lot. And this segment's gone by. Yeah, we're already quarter way through the show, just about.
Well, we have to do a shout out for Forbidden Kingdom because that
is actually just that's what I wrote down. The Forbidden Kingdom. Those of you who don't know, who have never seen this, then you have no soul and you're not a martial arts fan. Because the Forbidden Kingdom was the first time Jackie Chan, and the only time Jackie Chan and Jet Li are on screen together, and they have a fight scene, and it's a really good fight, and it's a really fun movie.
It is.
It's a good movie.
I mean, you
very
have to
good.
like karate films.
You do,
like
yes, you do, and you have to like, because there's like a couple different types of karate films. There's like the, we're gonna push the envelope to a point where it's just ridiculous, and we are ripping hearts out, Kalima type of type of thing. The really high flying wire act, which certain films like The Matrix was a ripoff of wire work, Asian martial arts action films. That's what they wanted to do.
Right.
That stylistic, that John Woo style of shooting. John Woo, who, shut up. If you're one of those independent directors who doesn't like John Woo, you know what? Shut up. All right. just shut up. Just shut up right now. Okay. The '90s was made great because of people like John Woo. Now, granted, John Woo can't survive into the 2000s. I get it. All right. But shut up.
There's a history here.
Yeah, there is an issue. All right, we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. Beverly Hills Ninja. Yes, totally Beverly Hills Ninja. That is, yes. Honestly, that's an amazing with Chris Farley. That's great. Okay, we have our special guest coming on in just a minute or so. Bill Humphreys. He's going to be coming in, and we have a short video to play to talk about what it is he's going to do. So I think we're going to be rolling that video right now. In 30 seconds, I was
Portsmouth
just told.
Portsmouth is many things to many people.
I think we're good.
The port city, an artist's haven, a tourist's hideaway, a culinary destination, and most importantly, the place we call home. Portsmouth is filled with history and tradition and proud of its reputation for innovation and free thinking. And Portsmouth's heart lies in its people, people no different than you. Portsmouth has been developed as a place where people come together and share their viewpoints and meet their neighbors. Person, on camera right here at Comcast Cable Channel 98, and on the web at ppmtvnh.org. Our mission is simple: to celebrate this community we call home, to connect its people and let them grow and tell their stories. We invite you to become a member of PPM TV. Your membership dollars help support the stories of our community, help our neighbors and friends and family tell their stories, and in doing so, find common ground. Won't you support your community television station by joining us as a new member or by renewing your past membership today? Join us in celebrating Portsmouth's only public access television station, because we're really interested to know, what's your story?
Kung Fu Panda. I'm sorry, I just had to say that because we were talking about martial arts movies right before you came on, and Arnie just said, why do we talk about Kung Fu Panda with Jack Black? I gotta say it before I forget about it. But you're watching the Late Night Live TV show with Terry Traynor, my co-host KJ Traynor, and right now we have in-studio guest Bill Humphreys of Portsmouth Community Television Station.
Howdy.
Yeah, PPM. Oh, so I always call Portsmouth Community Television, but what is it?
PPM TV, Portsmouth Public Media Television.
Portsmouth
That sounds
Media
much
Television.
cooler.
Doesn't it sound cooler?
It does.
Yeah, and you guys got, like, I will say this, one of the coolest studios because it was like an old church, I think.
It was it was built in 1865, and it was the first black church in the state of New Hampshire.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's been a church and a Grange Hall and a school and a library and a meeting house and everything, and then does it all over again. Another, 50 years later, it's a church and a Grange Hall and a meeting house. It just keeps changing all around.
Because I met up with you. I think I forget exactly how we met, but we met about a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
We ended up taking me on a tour of the studio.
Yeah, you came over.
Yeah, and I ended up talking about my web series, Artists and Idiots, or something like that. And I sent it to someone who worked for you. I remember getting an audience response. This is a weird show. I remember saying something like that. I'm like, yeah, it is. But so thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
It's fun. So, but yeah, you have some really cool things I want to talk to you about. One is projects. So you have some. What type of projects are you looking to produce? What type of projects have you produced recently?
Oh gosh, we do anything anybody wants to do.
Okay.
With our motto is we never say no. So you come in and you want to do a show about this, we'll say, yeah, sure, come on over.
Yeah,
we'll do that. We'll teach you how to do it. You do it, and then we'll put it on the air for you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's we've had a lot of interesting shows. Right now we're doing a show called Priority One, which is an exercise program for the elderly. It's one of the top-rated shows on our air.
So if they fall, they can get up.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. With a little help. A little help from your friends.
Get by with a little help. So I don't know if we could sing that on on television. Facebook Live will probably pull us down.
Not the way we would sing it. No.
Yeah, I know.
It would be indecipherable.
Yeah.
And we do a show called Don't Diss My Ability, and we do a True Tales Live, which is kind of like a Moth radio hour, but live performers telling their stories, their personal stories about a particular theme.
Oh yeah, okay. Now, because I've heard stuff like that on public access radio too. It is random, but it's very no one in particular, just someone who has a story to tell, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Moth radio. Yeah, what you just mentioned, right? Yeah,
exactly.
I know. I'm an idiot. I get it. All right, don't worry.
I like him.
Yeah. We're trying to think of a name for him.
I like him.
Do you have an idea for a name?
I'll think about it.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I'll Facebook it to you.
You Facebook, yeah. Next week, Chris Doobie just joined the live room. Chris Doobie's now the filmmaker. Chris, you're gonna want to get to know Bill, especially with him building up his film community. But yeah, you guys have a really cool studio. You have a lot of cool equipment there. To really, I mean, the full shebang. I like our little studio here, but yours. Sorry, Joe. Yours is really cool. yours is really cool, and it's like three levels and everything like that. But you also have a couple editing bays. It's pretty extensive.
We have two editing bays, and then we have this little horseshoe area where we have computers set up so that people can either go and lock themselves away and edit and get crazy and scream and yell and pull their own hair out with nobody sees, or they sit outside
they can do it in
the horseshoe and they can do it in public. Yeah. And then we have two stages, one downstairs and one upstairs, where with complete wraparound curtains for backgrounds and lighting equipment in both stages. So
now, how did you get into running the? Because you're the man there. You're the director of.
Yeah, I'm the executive.
Oh yes, quite yes. I say, jolly good. But how do you land a position like that?
Well, we've been in existence for 7 years. What is this month? This is March. 7 years this month.
Oh wow!
Actually,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's April, but yeah, sure. Yeah.
And so 7 years ago, I was looking for a job. and I happened to read in the newspaper, this public access station is coming to fruition. Here's the guy that's going to run the board. And I wrote him a letter, and next thing I knew, I was having coffee with him, listening to him talk. Mm-hmm. And next thing I knew, they were saying, "You want a job?" I said, "Sure, I'll take a job." So that's basically how that came to be.
Yeah. Have you ever okay, so she's a writer, actress, and we both make movies and stuff. So that's kind of how we ended up. Yeah. That's how we ended up here, doing this and wasting people's time. But were you ever interested in the multimedia arts of like filmmaking, storytelling, or anything like that?
I grew up with it. I was on stage as an actor when I was 7, and that was a few years back.
Yeah, just a couple.
Just a couple. And then I went to school in Los Angeles for filmmaking and theater arts. And then I decided I needed to earn a living.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's not.
Thing. The cat kept getting hungry and yelling at me if I didn't feed him. So
they won't stop meowing.
No,
when
they
you
don't.
Feed them.
Yeah. So I got a job at a TV station in LA, and then it just kind of spiraled from there. And
really,
I was on a stage crew at KCOP TV in Los Angeles when I was 19, and then became a director when I was like 22, and just kept on going and been doing it ever since.
Wow. You must. Do you enjoy it? Is it something?
No,
I
hate it. The worst profession in the world. I don't recommend it to anybody. That's called job security.
I appreciate that.
Tempting fate. I want to give a quick shout out to Jesper70. He is a filmmaker over in Sweden, and actually me and her are flying out tomorrow to go visit him and actually talk about a production out there. But he's been out this way. He's been in Portsmouth area. Yeah, hopefully. Yes, if you're watching, next time you're back in the Granite State in the States, we'll take you on a tour of the studio here. Ian McFarland, Ruben Traynor. Hello to you guys. Want to make sure I shout out to these people because they're our audience. We should be nice to them. And speaking of audience, that's another thing mentioned on here. Audience numbers. Now we usually have like questions. Ask me about this or ask me about that or don't mention this. We have gotten a few of those. Don't mention this. And so this was just audience numbers. So tell me about your audience numbers.
Oh, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have this problem or not, but in trying to determine what your audience numbers are,
it's very difficult. Yeah, because we don't. What was the old system that you used to actually go and knock? People used to go and knock on the doors. What was it called?
It starts with an N.
Nielsen?
Nielsen, yeah.
Nielsen,
and then there's algorithms you can do. The only way we can track it here is we can only track the amount of views we have after we posted it to the
YouTube.
The direct access online, whatever the heck is called.
Okay.
But like right now on the Facebook Live for our show, we track it mainly through Facebook Live. Yeah. How many people we have viewing it and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but how do you guys do it?
All the programs that we produce in the house, we put up on our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So it's mostly our YouTube numbers.
Oh, okay.
YouTube analytics. Mm-hmm. Which comes down to approximately between 30 to 35,000 hits per month.
Wow,
that's pretty good.
Which is not too bad.
No, I mean that's for public access. That's actually really good.
And what we really are interested in is the fact that in order to make that happen, you've got to sit down at a computer. You've got to navigate to YouTube. You've got to go to BPM TV. Mm-hmm. You've got to navigate to the show you want to watch, and you got to sit down and watch it. So that's like 5 steps before you ever get to see what the content is that you're after. Instead of picking up the remote and going click, watch channel 98.
Right, yeah. So what's your highest viewed
Our highest viewed show is called Priority 1, and it is that exercise program for the elderly, and it's shown not only for it's designed for elderly people, because it has a lot of chair-based exercise materials, kind of easy stuff to do. But everybody does it. The people in the neighborhood around the station. I watched that show last night. I was exercising with Alexis yesterday morning.
Wow.
But that show has held the #1 spot in all 10 top 10 slots for the last 4 years.
Can I ask you this? So I spent a lot of time in Portsmouth doing business and personal reasons, and but I was walking down Portsmouth right by the post office, and I heard someone shout my name. Now, I had 7 brothers, and so when someone shouted your name, typically they were giving you a warning, like you have a running chance now. It's like, because it's more fun to catch you when you're running. Right? Yeah. So my first instinct was I'm going to run. Like that was my first instinct. And so then this young lady comes running across the street, and she starts talking to me, and she's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going, Terry?" And she's using my name, Terry. It is my name. And she's talking on and on, and I'm just looking at her, go, "Hi, how's it going?" She's thinking, I don't know who the hell she is, And she'd been an extra on one of my sets. On that set, it was really? For a film we did called The Man Who Wasn't Tex McGrew, and there was like 30 extras that day. There's only one director. It was me. There's like 30 extras, and so. There is a level of, when you're involved in a television station, whether big or small, the level of this kind of cool prestige. People get very excited about it. And I think that's really cool. I like being in a television station. I get a real hoot out of it. And as you know, there's a ton of money working in public access.
Why are we not all in?
Why are we not? Because it's just so much fun. Now, do you like that element that you're trying to get people to just have fun with this and inspire it?
Oh yeah. I mean, if you can't have fun with what you're doing, then why?
Right.
Exactly.
Why do it? I mean, it's just beats selling shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Beats pumping gas. I mean,
definitely.
I could go on. There's a long list of stuff that it beats.
Yeah.
But I love to be able to instill in the other people that are coming into the station to do their shows some kind of sense of fun and levity and.
It can do, especially with technology changing in the past 15 years. Sorry, I know I just interrupted you from asking a question. But like, there's so much more we can do now than I did even when I started about 15 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So the excuse for not creating your project on screen is kind of not really as much one anymore.
Oh no, and when you think back about when I started in television, it was on a 2-inch videotape, and a half-hour show was on a metal reel that was this big.
Right.
You had to put up. You got muscles by putting it up on the machine and now you can carry 7 hours of content in your breast pocket and run it through the wash, and it still comes out okay.
Yeah.
It's amazing, really.
It is. It's phenomenal. It really is.
So you said you produce any show that someone comes up with.
Mm-hmm.
What's the wackiest idea that someone's come to you and said, I really want this show to happen?
We had a guy walk into the station about 4 or 5 years ago, and he said, I want to do a cooking show.
Okay.
I said, okay, great. What kind of a cooking show you want to do?
Oh God.
I want to do a cooking show on roadkill.
Oh.
On roadkill.
You what?
Does he use wax paper?
I didn't get so far as to ask him, but we said, sure. You want to go get the possum, learn how to wash it out and fillet it and cook it up in a sauce with peanut butter and whatever you want to do. That's fine. We'll work with you on that. Let me sit down and tell you what it's going to take to do a television show that's about cooking. Okay. First, you need a kitchen, and then by the time I was done telling him what it took to do that, he said, "I think that's too much work. I think I don't think I want to do that."
Hey, Bill, it's been a real hoot having you on the show. Hope you had fun. It's been a real hoot, and I'd love to have you back at some point in time.
Anytime.
I'm hoping one of these days we'll be able to do a show in Portsmouth. Like we'll go on
over there. We'll put it together. And we'll pump it this way
on the road show. But it's been fun having you on, and
Thanks,
love to have you back at some point.
My pleasure.
All right, this has been Bill Humphreys with Portsmouth Public. What is it? PPM.
PPM TV, like Peter Paul Mary TV, New Hampshire.
Peter Paul Mary TV, New Hampshire. Yeah. Check it out. Some cool stuff, and you'll maybe get some exercise, especially if you're one of the elderly individuals. You fall and you will be able to get back up. We're going to be now continuing with our web series, Suburban Spies, by our friend Adam Griswold. This is episode 3. Check it out, Late Night Live TV, and we are going to be right back. Thanks, Bill.
coming from a company owned by the Stockington Group.
That doesn't surprise me. Given the company's history, I wouldn't be surprised if she's behind the whole thing. And even if she isn't, I bet the company definitely is.
I'm sorry, who are we talking about right now?
Margot Stockington. She's heir to one of the wealthiest families in town. She runs an investment company that has been linked to illegal business activities for decades. They've been trying to pin her down, but with no luck. Though I have a feeling that's going to change soon.
Looks like you've already got your next assignment all figured out.
Will you be needing any elaborate disguises?
Nothing too elaborate, just 2 costumes that are formal, upscale, something that screams money.
Okay. Should be fun.
Greg, I need you to establish contact with Margot Stockington. This weekend, my partner and I are going to discuss business with her over dinner.
You know, you look marvelous tonight, darling.
Oh, George, please.
I mean it. Seeing you right now, I'm transported back to the moment I first laid eyes on you. I remember like it was yesterday.
Do you now?
Oh, yes. You were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar when I met you. And you brought me my drink, I looked into your eyes, and I knew, even then, that you would one day be my bride.
As I recall, it took me quite a bit of time to warm up to you. As you may recall, our first date was quite the disaster.
Oh, yes, our first date.
Yes, I can't imagine why anybody would want to take somebody whitewater rafting on a first date, let alone in the middle of October.
Well, you know, I was going through an outdoor adventure phase at the time, wanted to bring you into it. Dare I say, you've domesticated me a bit too much.
Oh, nobody could domesticate you, George.
How am I doing?
You're doing pretty good, just try to keep it a little more subtle.
Well, if you say so, Karina.
Are you the DePietros?
The DiPiertos? Why, yes, we are.
Here, you can sit here, and I'll sit next to my lovely wife.
It's lovely to meet you both. The call kind of came out of the blue, but I'm always looking to strike up new business partnerships.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of business we can do together.
I hope so. So what industry are you in exactly?
Dog racing.
Excuse me?
You know, the greyhounds. We breed them ourselves, we set up the races, and then we bet on our own dogs. We've made a fortune doing it.
Dog racing? Really? I've never really been a fan of that. I hear they don't treat the dogs so well.
George is just pulling your leg. He does that with everyone.
That's right. Gotcha.
Really, though, we're in real estate.
Oh, well, that's definitely something I know about. In fact, I've invested with a few real estate firms recently.
Oh, well, perhaps you'd like to invest with us.
Maybe I already have. You see, I don't always know what's happened to all of the money, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
What do you mean? You know what I mean?
You know, us rich people, we're always throwing our money around here and there and everywhere. Yeah, buying off the politicians, funding the wars. It's what we do. We gotta keep the proletariat in their place. We run the world.
George, you are too hilarious. That's why I love you. Well, that's enough joking around, wouldn't you say?
Yes, that husband of yours is quite a character.
You have no idea.
Well, jokes aside, I can't always keep track of what's going on with the company's money, and unfortunately, I've recently discovered that some people use the company funds without my consent.
Really?
Yes. Like that circus. Oh, dear God, the circus.
What about the circus?
Well, there's this circus that's been operating on the edge of town, and the company's money is paying for it. But here's the thing. Circuses are supposed to travel. This one has been there for months. The company's money is keeping it in North Riverfield. We've been trying to clear that one up for a while now.
That's very interesting. Where exactly is this circus? George and I might like to go sometime.
Oh, I don't know about that, dear. You remember what happened that time at the zoo, don't you?
Yes, of course.
Well, what happened at the zoo.
She fell into a tiger cage. I had to jump in and fight off the tiger with my bare hands.
Really? You fought a tiger?
Yes, he did. It's as unbelievable as it sounds.
Oh, but it's not like it was my first time. I did take a class on tiger combat when I studied abroad in India.
Oh, that's enough chit-chat. Does everybody know what they'd like to order?
Oh, absolutely. Where are the menus?
Again, it was lovely to meet the two of you. And if you decide to do business together, feel free to contact me.
We will. So, that went well.
Yeah, your stories were starting to get a bit outlandish, though.
Oh, I think our lives have been a bit outlandish, haven't they?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. You're still learning. I mean, when I first started, I think I pretty much did the same thing.
So, Karina, the night is young. Where do we go from here?
Well, I think the first thing we should probably do is call Greg and have him look into the circus, because I think that has to do with all of it.
Of course.
And we're about ready to start our... Okay, so I keep getting yelled at in my ear right now. I don't know. What am I supposed to be talking and introducing the show at this point? Are we on the air right now? Yes, we're on the air. They're nodding behind the lens there. I got a thumbs up. Do I have to reintroduce the show again? There we go. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Terry Traynor. I am the host of the Late Night Live Show, and you're watching the Late Night Live Show either on the Narrow Street Films Facebook page, the live feed, which is pretty exciting because we get to interact with you guys on the show. So really, throw a comment in and throw a question in, and we'll keep up with it as best we can. We're on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8, and this is really fun. And next week we have a very special interview.
Yep.
Because me and KJ are flying out to Copenhagen to interview a filmmaker out there. And this won't be a live interview because we have to pre-record it and get it through customs on the way back. Hooray! And then we'll be back for next show with Jesper 70, a filmmaker out there, which is pretty cool. And we had a good guest, Bill Humphreys, who's Portsmouth Community Television. But right now, we're ready to come to one of my favorite sections of the show. Now we have Derek Foley, right, because I have to reintroduce, we want to do one of my favorite sections of the show, Trailer Trash. So, I think we got an opening credits we're going to roll on that, right, Joe?
I think we already rolled it.
Or maybe we already rolled it.
Yeah, we already rolled it.
There we go. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, first film we're going to be talking about, because karate has been our theme for this for today. The first thing we're going to be talking about is the new web series, Cobra Kai. Let's roll that trailer. All right.
Actually, I think they're rolling kill order.
Yeah, man. Well, we're going to talk about Cobra Kai. Okay. So there's going to be Cobra Kai is a continuation of the original Karate Kid movie that came out in the 80s.
Yes.
With Ralph Macchio. Let me see. What was it? William Zabka, and I mean, it was a very cheesy '80s film, but it was classic in the sense that it pretty much funded most of the martial arts schools through the '90s. I mean, it did. It made a big difference because our older brother teaches martial arts, and as a martial artist myself, and growing up in it, I mean, it was always considered the joke. It really wasn't considered like this serious thing. It's like, what are you going to do, the crane kick in the martial arts world? But
the answer is always no on the crane kick.
Always no.
Never going to do the crane kick.
But the truth of it is, though, it really did set a precedent. And what else it did was it also kind of normalized karate a little bit more. in kind of mainstream America, which hadn't been huge. It'd been, I mean, Bruce Lee was kind of the guy who started bringing it over to America. So was Chuck Norris. But what I mean by that, it went beyond B films. Karate Kid was not a B movie. It was a big movie, and it became a very, and so it really had set a precedent and made karate being a part of the show, being part of America a little bit more. So I didn't even know about this web series coming out with William Zabka and Ralph Macchio, but you said they're buddies, right?
Yes, they were shopping this like all over the place to get this show on air somewhere. It was
Really?
the two of them working together. So
It looks awesome.
it really does.
It looks like
really
a lot.
does.
It looks like a lot of fun, and I'm very curious to see, because in the first one, Johnny's the bad guy, and he kind of
Yeah.
has. So I'm kind of curious to see. I found myself rooting for Ralph Macchio. I'm sorry, you're a pain in the ass, but it's just But I found myself rooting for Johnny in this trailer. Like, I'm really curious to see what
Well,
it
that's
is.
what confuses me because Ralph Macchio was definitely the good guy in the original series, and now it looks like they're kind of flipping the script on that a little bit. So I would see it anyway because I really like the original movies.
Yeah.
I grew up reading the TV.
Second one I think is
books.
awesome. Honestly, I think the second
Yeah.
one's the best movie.
But
Yeah.
so I was like super excited when this came out.
Yeah. All right, but Mr. Foley.
Yeah, it's intrigued me enough to say I want to watch it.
We probably watched the original when it came out. Did you go to theater to see the original when it came out?
Oh God, how long ago was that?
80s.
I mean, I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it definitely was a movie that influenced a lot of kids to want to get into karate. And I wouldn't say that karate schools existed because of Karate Kid, but it sure as heck helped.
Yeah.
For sure. Anyways, but yeah, I think the idea behind the story, the characters, original characters, it's not like they're trying to use different people and calling it Karate Kid or Cobra Kai. They're using the original source now.
See, I like the Jackie Chan one. It shouldn't have been called the Karate Kid. It should have been called Kung Fu Kid because it was Kung Fu they were studying in it.
Right.
For those of you who don't know and are idiots with this, karate is actually a style of martial arts, but it's a bastardized word that gets used around as a generic word for martial arts. It's not actually true. It's a Japanese style of martial arts. So it should have been called the Kung Fu Kid, but I did like that movie. The only mention of the forbidden, the horrible Karate Kid movie we're not supposed to mention with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith. We're done. Over with. Move on.
Yeah. But the fact that they used the original cast and it kept them contemporary too.
And it looks like they're not just repeating the original movies. Like
No.
they don't have like that one special person that they're teaching, and
Right.
that's kind of refreshing
Right.
too.
I'm curious as to how they're going to make it a series, because it was a movie.
Yeah.
How are you going to turn this into a series? So we'll see. It's interesting. I'm intrigued.
Okay, so I think we've talked about this enough. Arnie?
Oh, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm on the 2000s.
Yeah, and so with me. Yeah.
Oh, strong start.
Yeah, this is a strong start.
Yeah.
All right, now let's send this crashing down. Okay, Kill Order. Let's roll the trailer for Kill Order. Kill Order, a troubled high school student discovers the truth behind his hidden abilities. Written and directed by a guy named James Mark, stars Dennis, I can't pronounce that name, Johnny Kane, Scott, I can't pronounce that name. Now you sent me this trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking about this, and we were talking about martial arts films. So, all right, so do you know, I'm just doing right now, the director pretty much just has stunt work listed, which makes sense if you look at the way the movie's directed. He's only directed 3 movies. This is only his 2nd movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it looks like one of those. We were talking earlier about the slightly over the top. Like karate movies typically are based off of a guy knows nothing and then he learns how to know something, or a guy is born with this inability to know everything. And that's typically how these kind of chopsocky kung fu action movies go. This definitely fits the category of this person knows everything, and except it looks like he knows everything, he just doesn't know he knows everything. The one thing about it is it's definitely modern. It's got a good salute to these sort of over-the-top karate films of the past, but it's definitely modern. I mean, even in one part of the trailer, which was just playing, you may be seeing it right now, it's first person, almost like a video game, like where he's attacking some of these people. So the fights look good, and the stunt work looks good. And I honestly, the main actor in it, that kid, he looks pretty good. Honestly, I kind of want to see him. I don't know. I just like his sort of presence on screen. I don't know anything about him. But Arnie, what do you think so far?
It looks like a high school version, a high school.
Well, it is a troubled high school student.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Jason Bourne. So I'm kind of like, he's so young. How can he possibly have a past that he doesn't know about? You know.
Well, it's interesting. I'm piggybacking on that. That was my first thought, was as like a Jason Bourne, but in this case, he doesn't know he has these abilities.
Right.
So it's like, was he trained as a young kid, and it was, hypnotized or brainwashed to not know this because he was so lethal, and that's why it looks like they're hunting him down because now they found out where he is, and then all of a sudden,
right, it just comes back on.
It turns back on him, right? Now, the question is there a story to this though? I mean, is this just an action?
It looks like probably just an action film.
So that's yet to be seen.
All right.
So it's kind of hard to tell with this particular trailer because it's just really showcasing the action.
Well, that's maybe telling too.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you can watch a trailer and pretty much tell exactly what the type of film is going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to bring up sore subjects.
Okay. All right.
All right. Yes. Moving on. Yes, sir. I said we will not bring up sore subjects. Okay. We will do a Star Wars episode. This is not one of them. Don't make me throw something at you again.
Okay.
All right. I think I threw something at you last week. I'll throw something at you again this week. Okay. So Arnie, rating for this film.
I don't know. Like I said, it kind of an interesting idea, teenage Jason Bourne, but I'm just going to put it, I have no idea where with this film.
Derek?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that same type of mix. I'm going to give it just a little up and...
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go... I don't know why, but the film intrigues me. And usually these types of films don't. As much as I do action films, I don't really go for the just all-out action type of film. And as much as I'm a martial artist, I don't really like chopsocky action films for the most part. I like Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan films I've liked. He was the kung fu action star that I liked. So because of the fact that there's something about it that just caught my attention, I'm actually going to go one full thumb up and then one sideways because I don't know. So because I like the kid in it. I like the way some of the scenes are directed in it. Yeah.
All right.
Now we're going to move on to another film, which you were just talking about right before the break. You have no idea what to think about this film. This is the trailer I brought up. So, Journey to China, which I just realized I spelled in the list Journey to China. I don't, Chin or whatever it is. Let's roll that trailer. Okay, Journey to China. Arnie, could you give a brief description of this film, please?
Well, it's a Russian film. So the entire commercial is in Russian. So I actually had to go online to look up what it's about. And there isn't all that much information on it that's not in Russian. But basically it's a continuation of another story, another Russian film. And it's, best I can say, it's a cartographer that's going through 18th century China looking for a missing mythological piece. That's pretty much all I know.
I think you're missing a couple big elements with this film, though.
Well,
okay, what's the reason why someone would watch this film? You went into great detail about the plot of this film, but you sort of left out a couple of, minute points that are sort of, important to... Hang on a second, I'm not done yet. Sort of, important to, people who like action movies. There may be something that's why am I watching something that,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the fact that it stars Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold Schwarzenegger has the most awesome mustache and
Arnold Schwarzenegger has something that made Tom Selleck at least perk his head up a little bit. All right?
That you might want to watch because of that.
Yes. That may play a small part in the reason why you would want to watch this this film.
Right.
Yeah, he looks like he plays some sort of Russian military general or something like that.
Well, we really don't know because the whole thing's in Russian.
Yeah, I hope they do an English version because I honestly want to see this.
What the heck? We're going to go see it even if there's subtitles. In the
the only thing that I want to see, I'm going to take a side tangent, but just because you watch something with subtitles doesn't mean you're a much better person. All right? just because you probably drive a Prius too. I'm gonna say that. if you say, well, I watch films with subtitles. Wow, you're stupid enough to read a book at the same time while watching a movie. Okay, that's dumb. All right, I'm sorry. Okay, they do dubbing over. Get over this mismatched mouth movement. Wow, that must have looked mismatched. But I'm sorry. It doesn't make you smarter.
Back to Jackie Chan.
I'm sorry. Yes, I went on a tangent there. I'm sorry. I totally full side note. I'm better now. Okay, Jackie Chan, Arnold Schwarzenegger having a fight scene in this. There's one part in the trailer, which you may have seen. Arnold Schwarzenegger standing there like this, and some guy just stands up behind me, just goes pow, just like knocks the guy out. It looks so cheesy and dumb. I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to see this movie. Derek.
I just don't know what to think of it. I mean, yeah, it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan, so you should assume it's going to be a good film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not really seeing much in that trailer to say, yeah, it's going to be a great film. I don't know.
He's not as swayed by.
Yeah, I mean,
Arnold Schwarzenegger with a mustache.
No, Arnold Schwarzenegger with a
Paul
mustache.
Bunyan, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
We have Paul Bunyan. That's what you're saying. You look kind of like Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, but aside from that, I'm not really sure if there's any substance to the story. I don't know what kind of action to expect out of this stuff.
There's the trailer. I think that I'm not sure it's the one we're playing, but the trailer that I sent you guys. The action, it looks kind of like what was originally good about the first Pirates movie, the first couple Pirates movies.
Yeah.
The style of action.
And there's a man with an iron mask, and I don't know how he plays into it. 'Cause, again, everything.
Well, we got to have Leonardo DiCaprio in there somewhere.
Yes. So, yeah, that's true.
I like the sort of swashbuckling type, fantasy type look to it. There's like an organ music playing in one scene. It's just like it just works. So I'm kind of intrigued by that world. So I want to see what the feel of this film is.
So what does turn me off is it looks so CGI. Like it looks like a cartoon most of the time. So that throws me off because I don't like movies that look like that.
No,
really.
but I'm willing to let that slide a little because it's a fantasy film.
Okay.
Actually, I would say this, going back to Kill Order, the only thing I don't like about some of the new Kung Fu films is, for those of you who've edited, there's a lot of tricks you can do to make someone look like they're faster than what they actually are. Cutting frames is one way, which is essentially when someone's throwing a punch, it's frame. What you'll do is the punch starts to go here. You cut the frame of the fist from here to here, so it goes from here to here, and it gives the illusion of being faster. Then of course there's speeding up, which they've been doing since the beginning of filmmaking, but also the digital enhancement of making strikes look like they go a little bit deeper in, making a little more blood effects. That's my only issue. I should have said earlier about Kill Order is that the kid looks like he's very good at physically performing, but it looks like they sort of were heightening it more than what it needed to be. And I can agree that this film looks like it has a lot of digital, but I'm okay with it because it seems just a pure fantasy film.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's sort of my take on it. And I would read off the director's name, but I can't pronounce it. All right, but I do know Olga. Oleg.
Okay.
Sechenko. Alexei, that's a good name. I like that name, Alexei. Is one of the writers. Hi, Alexei. Alexei Trukin.
It's all right. We'll just believe you.
Who would have thought that Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been like the easy name to pronounce on this?
Or Jackie Chan.
Or Jackie Chan, yeah, Rutger Hauer's in this movie, though.
Really?
Yeah, Rutger Hauer. You'd recognize him. Yeah, so it's got a very international cast. You have a Austrian guy who's famous in America. Jackie.
Well, they are pushing Asian filmmakers are rising. They're finding a much bigger market overseas now than they thought before.
Well, speaking of Jackie Chan, then The Foreigner was an Asian collaboration with an Irish film company, which was run by. Forget which Irish film company, but that was one of the first marrying of those two companies. They've been trying for a while. Hong Kong trying to expand their horizons.
Because the Great Wall of China with
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, that was a collaboration too.
But I haven't seen that. It did look good.
It didn't do well here, but it did pretty well overseas. So the funny thing is, we used to be the biggest market. Now that's starting to shift. They're starting to shift that towards Asia.
Well, yeah, it's interesting too. If you even just look at the entertainment, we'll take the music industry. a lot of those 80s rock bands and 90s rock bands that were huge, and they suddenly disappeared. They didn't completely disappear. They're really making their foundation now in overseas.
Right.
Japan.
Well, it's like, I mean, at the moment, Asia is a very big market. India is a very big market. Africa is actually a fairly big market when it comes to film. To film. America is still the biggest market. Like, if a film makes it in America, it makes it. You know, I mean, like, it, you know, it makes it, you know, I mean, but there's still that, you can make it in a combination of other countries.
Well, I know you don't want me to bring up this movie, but The Last Jedi flopped in China, but is still considered a huge success. So you are correct.
Yeah.
Because everywhere else it did well.
Everywhere else did well. Yeah, if you don't make it, for example, License to Kill, 1989, directed by John Glenn, starring Timothy Dalton, the Bond film that actually almost killed the Bond franchise. A very good movie, though. I really like. It's one of my favorite 80s action films. Not my favorite Bond, but it's one of my favorite 80s action films. It broke like box office records, like in overseas and everything like that, but it was considered a flop because it didn't make it in America. And so one of the first films that got a sequel because it made it overseas, I gotta think it's one of the more mainstream ones. Pacific Rim did very good over in the Asian market, but didn't do good in America at all. And so, it's getting a sequel. So I can understand that maybe there is a shift.
Yeah, it's growing. It's not shifted entirely, but it's a big consideration.
Right.
And they'll actually re-edit movies that we have here and just edit it to like fit that market a little bit more, so that what you see in China isn't necessarily what you see here.
But that's common, though. I mean, that's common with a lot of films too. Is that, I mean, like Germany's got very strict what they can show on films. A lot of restriction on violence and stuff like that.
Yeah. But you mentioned 90s stars going overseas.
Yeah.
Lou Bega is actually in Germany. You remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That guy there. Yeah, he's a big hit in Germany right now.
Jeez.
Which is
Germany's weird. Just gonna say that. Awesome cars, weird shorts. We may be going over there. Anyways, if you're watching over there in Deutschland, I love you. You are weird though.
But we haven't rated Germany.
Yeah, we gotta do this because we're running out of time. Actually.
Okay, so. One thumb for the mustache. I gotta give it that.
Right.
I'm totally gonna see it because of that.
I'm kind of feeling a little bit of that.
Okay. Honestly,
it's Jackie Chan, man.
I gotta go 2 thumbs up. There's I don't know what he was saying, but one of the trailers, Arnold Schwarzenegger comes walking in, says a whole bunch of stuff, to Jackie Chan. Then he looks at the camera and goes, "In the Jatawa." And I don't know what it means, but the way he says it with the mustache was amazing. And I don't know why. I watched that part of the trailer like a dozen times. All right, anyways, I got to give a shout out to everyone who was in the Facebook Live room. We're about to wrap up this show. Nikki Hens, Jessica Spooner, Paul Lussier, Jackie Pence, Autumn Allen, Chris Doobie, Ruben Traynor, Jesper 70, Derek Foley, Peter White, Jenna Brooks. I want to Kate Eppers. I want to thank everyone for helping out who posted about what their favorite karate movies were. We don't know what our theme for next week is, but we'll be announcing it on Monday, what our theme for next week is, and so we'll be approaching you. Thank you for all your people who joined the Facebook Live room. Thank you, CTV21. Thank you to the crew. Thank you, Bill Humphreys at Portsmouth Community Television Station. Terry Traynor, out of here.